Colleagues, I also just want to remind you and participants that there's also the blog, so you can upload questions on the blog if you so wish, and we'll come back to you with the answers. I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but I still don't see any questions. So, okay, so there's a new, okay, that's Cornell Hart, busy uploading the stuff in the chat. Cornell, then if there's no questions, shall I turn over to Anita for the closure?
I think so, colleagues. I think everybody is either out of electricity power or power.
Yeah, no. Yes, we've all been battling with that. We're now on to stage 4. So,
Gail, could I maybe ask a question, please?
Yes, certainly, Prof.
You've pressurized me into asking a question. I was going to ask this question afterwards, but maybe to Cornell. So that is part of the problem, I almost want to call it, that we face in research office. When we speak to researchers, they are saying, but my research is not about community engagement. Not understanding that community engagement is part of the process of research. How do we change that mindset? And I know you're going to tell me by engagement, but what type of interventions and programs do you have to change that type of mindset?
Yes, Prof. Fielding, you know, I should have said no more questions to Cornell, but thank you for that. I think it's very relevant. We know, you and I specifically know how it comes about from academic scholars. I've even put during your presentation how so many people feel, but I shouldn't deviate from publishing in certain ways, and you've very adequately showed different ways of publishing. But how do we change that mindset? I think, and it's something that will be discussed tomorrow, also when we launch the UWC ORIC office. And what the unit, the community engagement unit, together with Prof. Lebak, has planned the last couple of months to say, how do we use the web portal of the unit to post certain tools, checklists, techniques? So this topology, for example, will be not just the topology on a slide, but there will be tick lists, there will be little help files, etc. And so that people can virtually go in and ask on the platform and search and watch a video clip, because some of us, like myself, I learn at my best if I watch video over and over again than just attending a workshop or a webinar. But we are hoping that from after this colloquium, that we have in the last 3 colloquiums, we've started from what is the principles for engagement, etc. And we are now at this process globally, where people say, how do we action our engagement? How do we action our scholarship of engagement? Because of this global phenomenon, that higher education institutions must now prove relevance and significance. So they must prove impact, or what we call societal impact in South Africa and Africa, or broader impacts in the States. So I think the idea is there are some faculties that approached us already and said, please, I want you to come and do a presentation, take us through this process, and then share with us tools, self-help files, templates, and sheets, so that we can start becoming more familiar with there isn't just civil society community. Or like we started in 2012, when higher education said, no, my academic scholars, my scholars is a community. Why must I go out to civil society? So it's about bringing that process in, and so that people can see, if I look at it the way I presented it in the topology, and I cut across the different scholarships, and I keep my portfolio of evidence, then promotions will also not be a problem, because at UWC, as you know, Prof. Lebak indicated that to apply for promotion, you must prove what is your scholarship of engagement. So I'm hoping that it answers your question, Prof. Fielding, and that you will be one of the Dean-elect for Science, that we will also work closely together with yourself and your faculty. We've got appointments set up for education, etc. already. So let's hope that after this colloquium, people feel, this is not such a weird concept. And it's something that I've done all along. I just didn't know how to phrase it, classify it, or categorize it. Thank you.
And if I may, Gail, and
Yes,
Kunal, you
certainly.
raise a very, thank you. You raise a very valuable point. In certain faculties, it is the definition that is not understood. So that point that you closed with about, defining exactly what that means, I think that will make the discussion so much easier as well. Because in education, compared to science, and I'm speaking as a scientist, when I think about that, the definition for me is so much different probably. So I look forward to that. Thank you.
Thanks, Prof. And thanks, Kunal, for the answer. Is there anybody else? I see no hands up. I see no questions. Anita, I'm going to turn over to you now for the closure. Thank you very much. And thanks very much for the insights that were shared in today's session.
Thank you, Gail. And thanks, everybody. I think this was a very engaging session. And if we take Prof. Fielding and Dr. Hart's comments now at the end, that little discussion, it shows us what we were speaking about yesterday, about the shift. Because I think there was such a discussion about maybe 10 or something years ago when the focus was pure applied research and not the scholarship of teaching and learning. And so people only wanted to do discipline in their fields and not focus research on classroom-based and action research and teaching and learning. And so it's going to take time. And it is about that mind shift that we are speaking about in terms of transforming the institutional culture so that everybody understands the scholarship of engagement in the same way. And I think it was so important to have the NRF here and showing that they are absolutely engaged in this process as well, and that they are remaining relevant to the scholarship of engagement and ensuring that, I mean, that call that Dr. Ellis spoke about now at the end, there is a special call for the scholarship of engagement. And I think Prof. Fielding's that last block, that now is the last block that actually should be the first block. I think that was absolutely amazing. And Dr. Hart, your topology, I must say it's a little bit scrambled in my head at this point, but it's a very important one. So I think all of us appreciate all the speakers today. I don't know if Dr. Jones, Professor Jones is still here, but he started the conversation, and Mr. Pokpas's insights into the anchor institution is something that we'll have to engage with in order for us to remain relevant and to be true to the mission of UWC. And so with that, I wish you all a good evening. Have a good evening. If it's dark, we're in it together. And have a good evening. Stay safe and go well. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.